You told me that when you were at the Fed, you actually decided to go out and meet some humans.
Imagine that.
Do you want to tell us about what you did?
You know, at the Fed, you know, you go through reams and reams of macro data, which is aggregated at a very high level. There are many series of data, so you can try to put together a picture. But it was clear, to me anyway, that the data might not be telling the full story of the, in particular, what I was interested in at the time was the quality of jobs that were being created immediately after the crisis. And so one day on my way into the Federal Reserve Board, I saw a sign, and the sign said that there was a job fair at a local community college, and I thought, well, you know, I don't really have any pressing reason to be coming into these data sheets at the moment. I think I'll take a detour, and I did, and I went to this job fair to really just see what kind of jobs were being offered. And it wasn't exactly what I expected. It was a lot of jobs at swimming pools, which I thought was interesting. I probed a little bit to find out what kind of jobs those were. They were lifeguard jobs. I thought, well, that's interesting that a college education here is going to be necessary to be a lifeguard, but I didn't see much else in terms of particularly interesting jobs. I didn't know if I had anything particular besides the lifeguard observation to take back with me. But as I was leaving the job fair, I saw a big sign that actually said IT jobs. And I thought, okay, this is probably the real deal. These are probably the jobs that require training, an advanced degree. I asked about what this IT job was, and she said to me, well, we actually don't know exactly what it is yet, but all you do is you throw in your resume to our database, and we do a search of the database to see if it can match any government contracts that are out there. And I remember thinking, wow, I mean, the labor market has really changed in a way. What happened to the days when you just, you know, go in and you have an interview and you present your resume and there's a discussion about terms? And I said, what are the probabilities that my resume will get chosen? And she said, you know, about 25%. And I thought, you know, that's not so good. I thought, oh, but yeah. I bet the trick of the trade here is that you go and you submit your resume to different places at the same time. So I said to her, oh, I said, but you can submit your resume to different job bases, can't you? And she said, oh no, because you're going to sign something ahead of time that says this is the only place you're putting your resume in. Anyway, this is probably more detail than you need, but it was very interesting to me because I saw that the labor market, because there had been, you know, because there was such labor market surplus after the crisis, had changed, in which the terms were very, very different. Things had been altered quite a bit.
Do you see any sign that policymakers today are trying to actually take a bigger vision of how they evaluate where the economy is going and where the risks are?
I think we have to, because one of the realities to predicting a crisis or looking for risk is that the data doesn't exist in quantifiable form yet, right? Because these are risks that people might not be able to aggregate yet. And this was clearly the case in terms of the predatory lending practices that were pervasive prior to the crisis, but nobody quite knew how to talk about them in an aggregated way. And as a result, I think that if you were an economist, say, and you only really would look at information that could be quantified, and you needed to understand what was going on with predatory lending, you might not be able to factor it in the same way you could factor in something that is able to be aggregated. So because of deficiencies, shortfalls in data, I think we need to bring to the table perspectives that some would argue are anecdotal, but on the other hand, could be very important inputs for figuring out what's happening.